Mr. Norris, what the challenges customers are facing in cybersecurity?
More targeted attacks, okay, in terms of specific individuals. So certainly the more sophisticated attackers will identify key people that they will go after. It's normally high worth, high individuals that they go after. And what they'll do is they will do a lot of research before they actually attack that individual. But on the whole, so that probably accounts for 3-4% of attacks. The majority of attacks today are still random. So they are normally done via phishing emails in terms of attacks, or by scanning an organisation in terms of looking at what is the defence like in terms of has it been patched, can they find chinks in the armour of that organisation that they can attack organisations. But what you're seeing in terms of attacks is the small businesses. You're getting a lot of opportunistic, because cybersecurity is so easy nowadays in terms of being able to carry out an attack. So you can go on the web, you can actually buy DDoS attacks for $5. So there are kits out there that people with not a lot of knowledge can actually buy, procure, and then target an organisation. But what you're seeing, it's normally petty criminals attacking small organisations or individuals, and what they're after is financial information or personal information that they can either then hold the individual to ransom, or that they can actually sell on the internet. So they can go onto the dark web and they can actually sell that person's information. People's information now, depending on the type of information, can go for anything from say $5 for some financial information to $30 to $40 for personal information about an individual with all of the history.
What about cybersecurity and cloud services?
The same risks apply to whether it's on-premise or off-premise in terms of services. I think certainly with cloud, you do need to, if you are considering cloud services, you've got to ask the question about where does the data, certainly in today's world, where does the data reside? How easy is it to get at that data? Is the data encrypted? So certainly the sort of questions you ask yourself as an organisation in terms of how secure is my data on an, you need to be having exactly the same questions if you do that with a cloud hosted provider. So certainly it applies whether it's hosted or on premise. The same rules apply either way.
Recently, Fujitsu won a European project on the framework of Horizon 2020 on the theme of industrial IT and cybersecurity.
So what we've been doing, so bear in mind that Fujitsu itself is a manufacturer of IT. So we have a factory in Augsburg, and we've been working with the factory in Augsburg in terms of IoT. We have our own IoT competency centre we've now set up in Germany. So we've been fortunate to we've put forward a paper to the European Parliament in terms of what we're able to do on cyber. So we're now leading a project with a number of the third-party organisations where we're now looking at IoT, specifically IoT security, and then how you go about actually securing that. And I think for me, one of the key things will be whether it's legislation or not. I think what we need to do is there needs to be certain standards with IoT devices that apply to everybody, and that might be as simple as when you buy a device that basically can go onto the internet. What you need to be able to do from day one is change the password. So you buy it and you may be given 24 hours once you register that item, or once you connect that item to the internet. There needs to be something there that says if it's password enabled, that within 24 hours you need to change the password. So simple things like that and simple standards will help in terms of securing IoT devices.
How important is the education on data protection?
So I think that's very important. I think today what we're seeing is with GDPR coming along next year, we're still seeing, I think people are now aware of it. Okay, I think there are organisations, if you look at data protection and the work that you need to do in terms of protecting that data. I think it's only now people are starting to understand that. I think that it's only now they're starting to understand that the legislation will come into place. And I think there are some people that are thinking that it'll be it's a bit like an insurance policy. A lot of organisations think that it's going to happen to somebody else. It won't happen to them. But I think what you'll see is through legislation, there will be one or two examples made, probably large companies that aren't protecting data maybe in the way that they need to protect it. And I think that will be a wake-up call to the industry that they need to do something. But I think certainly organisations need to wake up to the fact and really understand what personal data they're holding on individuals. Where is that data being stored? Is it being stored in the cloud? Is it being stored in the country that they operate in? Can they easily access that information? Is that information encrypted? But if I came along to your organisation and asked you the question, what information do you have on me? Can you delete it? Can I see it? That's a basic question that most organisations should be able to give you an answer. If they can't answer that, then quite clearly they've got a problem and they need to act very quickly in terms of starting to understand the data that they're holding. It's clear that they probably don't have a data policy, and they're probably unaware of the data that they're holding on an individual, where it's being kept, how it's being stored. All of those are basic principles of data protection that need to be enforced.